on admit it. You're glad to see us.
Hello and welcome to another Midnight Ice production. Apologies for the no camera, it's been a bit funky at the moment. Also my face, so that's a good enough reason not to do it. And yeah, let's get late night, midnight plus, midnight ISO, GT Sporting. Alright, excuse me a moment while I play with some of the settings on the game. Right, let's get practicing. So the basic idea is to get from my E grade, which I'm going to check out here. No, I'm not, because it's in the wrong place. Okay, so I'm currently E grade and just in there. But as you see, this is a absolutely brand new account. Started last night. Already up to A sportsmanship rating, which is, you know, where I want to be. And starting at E grade. So, I'm going to improve that. Let's crack on. So, basically, to Monza. I have already done 2 races, which I think I finished first and second or third last night. And now we're going to try and capitalise on being in the lower lobby and see if we can nick a couple of wins, get this account started. Right, onwards. Okay, so we should be able to get in 3-ish hot laps. So we can drag this account up to somewhere around a B. Got my trusty Corvette with my trusty black and red. Right, I'm going to see if we can beat my time that I've reset. In my other account, my main account, I've managed to hit a 46.8, I think it was. Not doing it on this account, because that is the wrong part of the track. I was more focused on what was going on on my dashboard than it was actually the track. Okay, out of the first chicane fairly tidily this time. So that cone on the right-hander during the scurry chicane says you should be right on top of the curb. I don't think so. Okay, so 2/10 off this account personal best. It's a good start. Yeah, I probably deserve that. I took the two Lesmos way too aggressively. It's got to be smooth. Something I was not. Right, I'm going to try that wider line on through Ascari. Okay, yeah, I can see it. Opens up the exit to Ascari much more. You can see I'm catching my other time already. Alright, I'll try it again. Need to turn ghosts off. Okay, good exit out of the second Lesmo that time. So we're on for a personal best. I'm going to try that wider line for Ascari as well. Okay, I didn't get much of it, but I can see why it's faster. It just opens up the exit at the corner so much more. Okay, PB. Just gonna see if we can get the first sector done. Let's get a little bit of practice. Actually, one thing I am going to do is going to change the hard tyres for the race. Doing the anti-strategy again. Damn it! Oh well, time for donuts. That's not a donut, dude. That counts? J10? Donut? Maybe? Let's get it. Let's get it out. Like Donkey Kong. Right, so, okay. Top two are within. Hey, Mr. Bet Racer. How's it going? It's my second account. Third race. Welcome to the channel, dude. It's a pleasure. How are you getting on with racing in America? America. How does it feel to be teaching Americans to turn right as well as left? That's the key. Old habits die hard. What can I say? Boop. I have to move my webcam, I think. Oh, yeah, gonna change the hard tyres first. That's more like it. Alright, where's my webcam? Where am I? There I am. There I go. Hi. Oh, that's ugly. There I am. I'll hide up here. Don't blame me. Fuji's a good track. It's one of my personal favourites. It's a shame they don't get more Formula 1 at that place. Pet peeve. I presume Crisis is another GT streamer. Unfortunately, when it comes to Twitch, I'm absolutely brand new. I've been on YouTube for much, much longer. I'm using something called OBS, Open Broadcast Software, or something like that. Basically, there's a computer next door to me which is run. So again, the HDMI cable from my PS4 runs through a splitter, which then runs into my Elgato capture card, which then captures what you see on the screen, and I use OBS to do the rest. Basically, you just learn from there. Hope you like it. okay. As soon as you say Super GT, I know what you're getting at. Professional level shit. Right, here we go. Starting on the hard tyre. So at the moment I'm on E rank, so we'll see how far that goes. You just play around with OBS, learn a few tricks, play with filters, that sort of thing. That's all I ever do. Oh, come on. Oh, Jesus. So, I love that about GT Sport. Someone else stops in front of you and you get the penalty. God, I love GT Sport. Sorry, I tend to answer much more on the straights because obviously Monza there's very little to do. Woo. I personally find YouTube is easier to use, as you'll see this is a twin cast. It's to YouTube and Twitch. Oh, cold tyres, cold tyres. Shit driver, cold tyres. There we go. I find YouTube easier to use, and obviously it's all preference at the end of the day. Some people will prefer Twitch. Well, that was a dick move. So this is the bad side of being in low lobbies. So that's taken me down from what, 3rd or 4th to 17th. So it's now a recovery drive. Well, all you've missed so far is me getting punted up the arse. Twice. Yeah, it's GT Sport, alright, isn't it? So it's now a recovery drive. Okay, I get angry when people try and pass me into Lesmo 1, so I better not do the same. I do like in this lobby, thus far, it does seem like a lot of the guys have the sense to let you go if you're faster. That's quite cool. Yeah, those Lesmos, it's not a passing opportunity, but people dive down the inside, and someone always ends up on the gravel. It's like, I remember, it was literally our first race. We were slipstreaming down the straight, pushing each other along, and no shenanigans into the twisty corners. I mean, that's how racing should be. Oh, or am I just too simplistic? Idealistic and simplistic. So this is GT Sport, people going sideways, backwards. Can't say I'm surprised. I meant to ask you, how do you get the... When Twitch comments posts, you get the Twitch to talk for you? That really surprised for me. Okay, I'm going to pass into Lesmo. I'm going to hate myself. be fair, I was quite alongside. Yes, those pesky Spanish. But being fair, I have seen all nationalities be as bad as each other. That said, I am always more worried about the Spanish. I don't know what it is. It's sort of a hothead moment comes across them. I mean, they probably think the same about the Brits. I don't know why I didn't say anything. It was actually easier to talk and then actually give the thumbs up there. I guess I'm just new to this streaming lark. Well, you can see the three guys up in front of me having a bit of a banzai each other, so there should be 3 more places in a minute once they take each other out. So my first race on this account last night, I won absolutely hands down because low lobby, and I've been racing against A and A plus and S ranks all week. Again, this track is my forte, but I'd realised I've been going for nearly 7 laps on the hard tyres, just lapping around just at my own pace before then I realised, oh, got back coming for the medium. It's funny when you get in the zone like that. These guys don't know when to brake. I don't know when to turn. I think that Italian in front of us is the one that punted me off. God, these guys don't know when to brake. I can't say I've raced too many Argentines, but I trust you. I mean, they are off, I want to say, Spanish descent / influence, so it must be something about the blood. Okay, so lap 4, they're going in. They were on mediums. That's good news for me. Oh, there goes one of them. Got way too overeager on that piece of acceleration. I need to take my own advice and actually drive slower. It's not qualifying. When all you can really do is throw it away and not win anything. Yeah, this is the guy that punted me off. So I'm feeling a bit of retribution coming up. Oh, don't ghost back in front of us. Oh, sorry to hear that. So, an Italian at Monza, that can only mean good things for racing standards. I love karma. I didn't put him in the pit wall. No. Okay, so what's the German up to? Spinning sideways. Duly noted. So, 17th up to 8th. Woo! That went flying. Up to 7th. Right, let's see if we can get 6th or 5th. Okay, I think the Brit in 5th is going to be too difficult. Well, no, we'll see, I guess. Okay, so the German at the front was on mediums. Now it's on hards. Everyone else has stayed out, apparently. Unless the others have been in already, I guess. What's that flag in front of me? Slovenia? Matom? I don't really know. Saying it, 5th is right there, the pink car. Give it a go. Let's see if we can get the fastest lap of the race. It's going to be a tight one, actually, because that Frenchman at the front is quick. Also, going on the gravel doesn't typically help. A little bit surprised there's not more bollards everywhere, actually. Okay, I'll be of the opinion that all these guys are on the hard tyre. So that suits me just fine. Don't mind going around the outside of it. Okay, up to 5th. Oh! Fastest lap nearly by 200ths of a second, give or take. So that's essentially the difference between me putting that wheel on the dirt and not. Never mind. Okay, so Nipper Dog is... yeah, he's too far ahead. Unless he has a spin. Anything can happen, I guess. So what I can really do is attempt to go for fastest lap. Let's hope no one's sitting in the slipstream of someone else going even quicker. That's what we got. No, not car record. Race record. That's all I can do at this point. If you have a lap 1 incident where you're at the back of the pack, oh, that might even be a penalty. That's not going to help my cases. Yep, there we go. I'm half tempted to go in for an extra pit stop. Should I do it for just the shits and giggles of it? Lap 8. Do you know what? You live once. Sod it. I have uber soft tyres for the last lap. I mean, that's all I've got at this point. So all I've got to do is get past this Brit again. And this, I want to say, Slovenian or Croatian in the Mustang. So you're not racing tonight, Bert? You're having a bit of an afternoon off from the wine and the Fuji late nights. I forgot about that half-second penalty. Brett's getting himself in trouble up ahead. Oh, oh, oh. Ah, that's fair. Do you know what? Oh, hello. Do you know what? I wouldn't blame you if you go for another game. We all have to have breaks from GT Sport. My breaks last from anything from 12 hours to 3 or 4 months. Right, so fastest lap, qualifying pace. What car is that? I don't know, don't care either. Don't punt me, don't punt me, don't punt me. Thank you. Is that GTR? Late ones, technically there were early ones, but you were going to bed after me and I was going to bed at up to 5 AM. Or that might be a penalty as well. I'm not doing well on this one. I generally do use the radar, it's just I was trying to get the fastest lap and I kind of forgot to turn it back on. It's not why I'm so blissful to other people around me. That's just ignorance. Your Portuguese mate must, I'm presuming living in Portugal, must be up to 2 hours behind us? Or are they on the same GMT as us? No, it's Paris, isn't it? But then again, Paris is always an hour different to... I don't know anymore. Okay, so we have the Mustang, who clearly forgot to use both sets of wheels. Wheels? Tyres. I know what I'm on about. When it comes to bad influences, I'm just my own bad influence. I should be asleep now. I was at work at 7 this morning. Remember, I did come home for a couple of hours and have a sleep. Afterwards. Not during. Okay, so it was the Italian Pinai that bashed me off at the Parabolica. So I got him back by putting him in the pit wall. Might have have to actually have a look at the replay for this. I'm a little bit too proud of myself right now. Oh, they are on the same GMT. Oh, fair enough. So your Portuguese mate's up just the same amount of time then? Well, yeah, I know what I mean. Alright, let's save that. Okay, Pin-Eye didn't even bother hanging around for that. So I'm still EDR. Let's have a quick look. And yes, give me a car. Come on, move on. Oh, please be the... Is that a Viper? Give me the Viper. It's one of my favourites. Awesome. Wrong colour, but I like it. Alright. So a quick look at that replay. I'm only literally going to look at that one and that 5. The only thing I don't know is if the PS4 Pro actually loads a bit faster. Or was it Fury 94? No, it can't have been. We'll find out in a minute. Right. Definitely have to play with the sound settings on this because I think I've disabled the audio I have. Right, okay, so we have to try and talk over. Actually, I will mute it for Twitch and YouTube. There we go. Right, so yeah. First lap. Got myself a penalty for doing very little. So what actually happened in front of me? So you've got the Frenchman and the German and the Turk. The German just, yeah, the German just stops on the second apex. Wonderful. Right. Okay, so yes, I've got a 2-second penalty. I fall back through the pack. There's Pin-Eye, who's going to be a Pin-Eye. So he tries to turn in on me there. Doesn't like the fact I've had... What the hell happened back there? I'm sure I just saw a car take off. Doing. Bloody brilliant. And I've got 1 minute. So, and lift off. Dying. Bloody brilliant. Right, so you got Pin-Eye. Yeah, just... Did he even get a penalty for that? 3-second penalty. Brilliant. Okay, so let's skip forwards to lap 5. Okay, so he wants to now go in the pits, and I'm... Yeah. Bash, 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 bash. Oh, justice. I'm a little bit proud of myself, I'm not going to lie. And the amusing thing is, it didn't affect my SR at all. I love being evil. Okay, I haven't got enough time to fit in any qualifying, so I will be back in a second. I'm getting snacks. Okay, here we go again. $46-1, and the Spaniard at the top. That's insane. It's only 2 attempts off the top 10. And all the rest in the lobby are below 10th cretins-ish. So 48th. I shouldn't have too many problems for anyone below 7th. In fact, top 4. As I say, my qualifying time in my main profile should have put me 2nd. Ain't got nothing to spend them on. Hooray! Sorry, giving Alexa some instructions. Right, let's try race 2. Let's see if we can make it around the first lap without getting hit in the arse again. Are we going to do this, are we? Right, if you're going to do that, I'm going to do this. Watching that. I do love the paint job on that. The German's car. Black and green. Ooh. I have set a lap, but not in that last qualifying session. And that's what happens when you pass into Lesmo. Ooh, I like the paint scheme on that. Ah, that's the Portuguese man, is it? Say hello for me. Or should I say hello for myself? I did wonder if that was your mate, because you mentioned him the other night. Didn't put two and two together initially because of the flag, but I did read. Right. So I don't think we're on for the win today, because that Spaniard is going to be far too far. Yeah, he's down the road already. He's already, yeah, checked out. So who's faster, me or him? Let's find out, shall we? Very kind. It doesn't happen very often. I'm on the hard tyres. Always start on the hard tyres. Oh, slipped off the controller, very literally there. That's why he's probably letting me go. He thinks I'm on the mediums. I'd say about 60 to 70% start on the mediums. It's a shame we don't know before the start of the race. It'd be good if they had a spectator mode in GT Sport, where interested parties could just tune into a daily race or something. Although you might be able to tell me if there actually is one or not. Okay, let's actually get my act together and go after these two Germans. Well, we're definitely not catching that Spaniard. 47.4 with full fuel. I think I spy someone with a Fanatec wheel and too much free time. Keep getting squirrely coming out of that chicane. Ooh, good choice. I think they do start at a best part of 800 quid for a starting entry level pack, don't they? But it's a bit like VR. If you love it, you get the good one. Or you get something that you like. If you have the passion for it, you get it. You're done with the G29. You finding you're up against the limitations of the wheel then? For your level, you're not getting enough feedback. The way I've had it all described to me with wheels is it may not necessarily make you quicker, but it might make you more consistent. And if you're into streaming, one thing you want to be, particularly on online, is have a consistent race pattern and pace. If the football analogy is, it's not strikers that win. Well, strikers can win matches, but teams win championships. Same with consistency. I'll tell you what, get yourself a fan attack, stop trolling yourself, and be half a second quicker, and within a tenth or two on each lap. That's the dream. To quote Barney Simpson. A few bob. That's not a term you hear very often these days. Oh. Okay, he was on the hard tyres. Okay. So he is going to definitely outpace me on this out lap. A few bob. Do I look that old? I'm not bad for 34. I did appreciate it. I think I just saw the leader up front with a penalty. Not like it was going to matter. Oh, dude. Yeah, try the controller. Well, happy birthday for Saturday. Happy 34th. I did say the other day we're cut from the same cloth. I didn't mean literally. Okay, so the Spaniard up front was on the mediums. I've got to believe that the German ahead is on the hard. Okay, Lil Noza, the Brit behind us, was on the hard as well. So it should be coming out around the German. There he is. Okay. There's our Portuguese friend. Oh, he's doing alright for an old timer. 47 years old. I shouldn't joke, because I'm going to be him one day. Just slower. With your little brother, I suppose you know age is no barrier to speed on this sort of game. Although it is embarrassing to an older gamer to be beaten by a 13-year-old. I mean, I don't know why, because at the time I thought I was that quick. I wasn't, but you get the idea. Yes, I am well aware that I lean with my driving. I can't stop doing it recently. I only started doing it the other week. Just go with it. 46.2. Jesus. I could do about a 46. I've done a 46.8. My optimal time was somewhere around a 46.5 or 6. So that takes the P. Into DB9. Admittedly, I like driving the V12 Vantage around. V12 Vantage? Something like that. But it wasn't. I found the Corvette was more consistent. Was that when you were able to keep up? I've got a feeling the German at the front is actually staying out longer to screw up the Spaniard. Call me cynical. See if you can get him enrolled with a McLaren program or something. As a test driver. Okay, so there goes... Okay, there's the German. That's weird. I bet the Spaniard put him in the wall. I'm keeping a very close eye on the times for your Portuguese friend. I'm well aware that he can... well, the race can flip on a coin, can't it? Ooh, that's a good idea. I didn't realise there was a PS4 minimum age requirement for streaming. I suppose I'm well above it, so I never would have to have checked, would I? But yeah, if you can get into a karting program, absolutely amazing. At the very least, esports teams. Can we give your little brother a handicap? And can we have a second head start for every year that we got on him? No, wait. That put the Portuguese gent way ahead of us. Let's not do that. Okay, so I've got 2 laps to try and catch this German. He's got a lap older mediums than me, so I'm hoping his front tyres are starting to go off. Oh no! There he goes. I caught that. In fact, I feel my front tyre starting to go. I'm not as good long run pace on the mediums in terms of, well, I mean, obviously they wear out faster than the hards, but I'm more comfortable on the hards once they're warmed up. That said, they are just slower, so you can't stay out on them. That could be cool, could be a good party. And they do purposely weight the daily races to be difficult on either the tyres or the fuel. I mean, you can see on the fuel on this one, they didn't even bother with this one. But, you know, I suppose it does separate the men from the trained. I suppose that is, from what I've heard, one of the main benefits of a wheel, tyre wear. Oh, the German went a bit wide. There's our chance. Oh, he's only lost a couple of attempts. Okay, there's a really weird YouTube comment that's just popped up. I'll deal with that in a sec. Danny Rick. It's no secret I am a McLaren fan. Historically, obviously growing up from our age, I was a Williams fan back in the 90s. And grew to love McLaren around the Raikkonen Montoya era, just because it was two gutsy drivers going nuts at it. And I've maintained that ever since. With regards to that, Danny Rick has a completely different personality what I thought would ever be in that car, given the Ron Dennis attitude from the 90s and all that sort of thing. That said, with obviously Sainz and Norris and Zach Brown, that is a completely different attitude in that whole company. And it's wonderful how they've morphed, but yet retained a lot of the pedigree. Ricciardo seems like an absolutely amazing fit into that car, given Norris. As long as they don't... Yeah, they are both absolute nutters. I mean, you saw at the end of the Abu Dhabi race, with Ricciardo still in his Renault uniform. Between him and Norris, it was banter instantly. And they were going up to the podium to talk to one of the commentators, and then Ricciardo bumped him out of the way. So he's getting his foot under the door in early. But Ricciardo and McLaren, I hope it's vindicated to be a good move out of Renault. Let's give the Portuguese gent a follow. I mean, I could see it being a good move come 22-23 if McLaren nail the new rules, which would be obviously with the ground effect and all that sort of thing. The only thing I've been mildly worried about is where they've had to fit the Mercedes engine in this year. They've not had as much proper development on the car. That said, you might find it might be worth a quarter of a second over the Renault anyway, but we'll see. It is going to be a weird one or an amazing one in terms of a year and a car and a Ricciardo in that car. So we'll see. Right, I'm going to try and set a better qualifying lap. And that's going to be my last one for the evening, because quite frankly, I should be getting some sleep. Sorry, I went off on a little bit of a tangent with regards to Formula 1 there, a bit probably too much in-depth for a casual GT stream, but it's a passion. You've got to have your passions. I'm not on about the TV show. One thing I'm looking forward to is Drive to Survive, and I'm hoping they caught sight of a lot of stuff going on with Vettel last year. So he's not the same man he was. Be interesting to see what's going on behind the scenes if we get to see it. Oh yes, I was going to deal with that YouTube comment. Hold that thought. Not actually sure I'm up on YouTube at the moment. Strange. Oh no, there it is. Yeah, for the gent that is posting in YouTube, on YouTube, that is not acceptable. Given this is the 21st century, that sort of hate speech is not acceptable on YouTube. So, don't comment again, please. Do you know what? I've forgotten. Eat a bit. Do you know what? I've got to keep going, haven't I? Because I've said that now, haven't I? But I'm genuinely surprised I'm not going up as much levels as I thought I would be. Genuinely. Potentially. Let's see if I can squeeze a lap in quick. Potentially Aston Martin, aka Racing Pink, Mercedes, Point, Force, India, Martin. Potentially could be amazing. I mean, there's a lot of doubters for Zeb. Zeb. I think, sadly, quite rightly, because a good driver can drive around a bad car. That said, we don't know how much internal politics played a part on that. How much they just didn't set up the car properly and how much he didn't do anything, which is a poor attitude. It would be good to see if you can come back and be more of the... Uh-oh, Alexa, shut up. Could be more of the actual racer that we know. But we're going to have to wait and see. So I'm going to have to change the title, was what you're going to say, E to C. I expected to win a few races and be somewhere around a C pretty quickly. Oh, BWT pulled out. I know it's I know it wasn't going to be pink. It was going to be Aston Martin British Racing Green, but I didn't know the actual sponsor had left. I expect they probably left with Perez or something, haven't they? Okay, this lap is going nowhere. Yeah, they're not going to bother finishing it. And we'll do a little bit of a spin. Okay, so that. Chance to change back tyres if I'm quick. One day I'll have a brain and I'll actually be dangerous. Yeah, I do think there is more going on to the Seb and Ferrari story than what we've seen. Discuss Red Bull. Well, that is a fair point. I think it's only fair to start with going back a couple of years. I do think Ricciardo was handed the very arse end of a little bit of a shit stick in terms of, if you just watch Drive to Survive, I know it's done for the media, but it does seem like Christian Horner is wrapped around Max Verstappen, or the idea. And I can see why he wants to get out of that situation. My personal thinking is, if he's got equal machinery, which I would imagine would have been written into Ricciardo's contract, he would have come out on top of Max, just from the sheer experience of it and the tenacity of him. That's my theory and my feeling on it. Since then, that second seat with Gasly, Kvyat and Albon has been an absolute poison chalice. Right, you've got Helmut Marko, who's the team guru, man, for lack of a better term. If you don't produce, you get booted, and that's the wrong attitude in a lot of respects. But this is Formula One. A good driver should be able to jump in there and go. Perez, I don't think he has the same speed as Max, but will he be 3 to 6 tenths behind Max? No, God no. He's learned a lot since his 2013 McLaren and Button days, and I think it'll be a lot closer. I won't be surprised if he does out-qualify Max a couple of times, particularly towards the second half of the season. But it's going to be a tricky year for Perez, because if he doesn't perform in that car, that could be the end of his career. It could be the end of the Red Bull Young Driver program. One way or the other, if he does or doesn't. I know, it's going to be tricky for Red Bull this year. Not to mention they've got all the Honda issues going on. I know they've managed to agree a takeover and engine freeze to 23 or 24 or whatever it was. But it's going to be a tricky year for Red Bull, because they've got to have a good car out of the block, unlike the last 4 or 5 years where it's taken until halfway in the season to be competitive, properly, repeatedly competitive. So I want Perez to do well. I genuinely do. I also want Max to do well, but I'm not happy with the team being quite so built around him. I mean, all good drivers tend to have a team built around them, but Red Bull need 2 good drivers. So that's one way to get around that corner. I do think he will push Max. the very least, he's got absolutely nothing to lose. Okay, getting past 9 Virtuoso. Probably should have actually just hit him. Bump drafted him. Oh. Got a bit wide. Ah, we're getting in each other's way. Yeah, the AlphaTauris race him so hard. Oh, what a damn surprise, eh? I mean, they're racing for their careers. Where was that? Tuscany or something like that? So the latter half of the season. Yeah, they raced me so hard. What were you expecting? Them to just wave you through? Kvyat's got no loyalty to anyone. Or shouldn't do anyway. You know, it might well have been the Nürburgring. So the one driver I felt really sorry for last year was actually the one driver I felt should have been out of the sport the year before. Kvyat. He was apparently told at the end of Abu Dhabi, just buy, no real formality about it at all. Whereas the year before, or the year before that, all the years before that, he wasn't suitable for the sport after torpedoing Vettel so many times. It was funny, but you know, it wasn't A-grade stuff. I'll give you that. Gasly did absolutely brilliantly last year, all things considered. Red Bull. They are a weird team, though. I mean, you have to go back to the days of Mark Webber and Vettel to know it's definitely run weirdly. I mean, particularly after that very famous Multi-21 incident at Malaysia. Why are you breaking that for? That caught me out. I mean, you've just got to know. Oh, alright. He must be on the... Okay, he was on the half. Ah, Copen's ahead of me. I know him. Ferrari. I'd like to know what went on with the 2018 and 2019 engine. Quite frankly, I mean, they've been through so many managers in the last 3 or 4 years. Arriva Bene, begins with M, I can't remember his name. Michione, and now Benotto. It just screams chaos at the top. Well, at least impatience. Hang on, I'll get to that in a sec. We'll get to Williams. Ferrari, I do want to see do better, but the hole they've got themselves in with that power unit, to put it in its proper term, and Multi-21, you're right, that power unit, having it taken away, stuffed over their entire car last year, and potentially this year and the next year. So there was something illegal on that engine. It had to be dealt with, but it has ruined Ferrari, potentially Alfa Romeo and Haas, as well as Vettel. So absolutely big knock-ons. I had a spreadsheet that I was filling out per race with towards the end of the season I was doing qualifying times, basing them against last year as well. And you can see in particularly Silverstone, I think it was Ferrari were down best part of 2% on the year previous. I mean, that's unheard of, cars to go backwards that far. And obviously Charles Leclerc, I mean, he got some good results out of that. A bit of a dog of a car, which shows his talent. Particularly at Austria, I think it was. It got a podium in the second race, there or thereabouts. Ferrari, I don't see them winning again until next year at earliest, unless they somehow can come out with a stonker of an engine this year. But we'll see. We shall see. Vettel, we've already mentioned Vettel. I mean, last year was absolute lost cause. I did ratings in this spreadsheet that I was talking about, and end of the year was Vettel. Closely followed by Grosjean, actually. But I don't want to really talk about Grosjean. I mean, it's just, I wasted enough breath on him in the last 10 years. And, yeah, Williams. It was really good to see that they had actually improved so much. I mean, they'd improved from trailing around at the back every single race with Kubica finishing, okay, getting their only point last year. But if you look at their pace, they were much better this year than they were the previous year. I mean, yeah, they're still at the back, but okay. Relative performance is obviously the key thing here, because they'd moved forward and Hassan moved, and Alfa Romeo had moved back. George Russell is an absolute... Whoops. Forgot to change my tyres. George Russell is an absolute mad talent. He really is. I mean, he was so unlucky in, was it Sakir, wasn't it? Merc 2022. I think there's a lot more politics going on in Mercedes than what Toto Wolff will admit. I think Lewis can stay, he could easily stay there until he's 45. If he wanted to, had the drive. I mean, he's often made, you know, he's often said a lot about his mental health and that sort of thing, which, you know, poor little rich boy, as it were, but some people's mental health is trickier than others, and it's not until the last couple of years I've realised particularly how much that actually is prevalent in life. Yeah, my race is now screwed because I forgot to change the medium tyres. But if Lewis can keep his head together, keep in a space where he's happy to race and fit, he could easily go to his 45, which is scary. I mean, unlike the old Michael Schumacher, he hasn't taken a 3-year break, 2-year break, 2003-year break, and he's not going to get as rusty as he did. The reason why I say all of this is I think Bottas is going to probably stay in that second seat until Lewis retires, potentially, or at least someone safe will stay there. For the sheer fact they don't want a repeat of Rosberg-Hamilton, 2016 or 14 to 16. So I could easily see it's dependent on what Lewis does. If he wants to retire, Russell will be there next year. If he wants to stay, he'll stay. Yeah, it's how much he wants to continue, how many records he wants to break. And given how the rules are tightening up for 22, 23, with all the development restrictions and budget caps, the chances are it's going to become super competitive, which is what he probably wants, but not that he doesn't want the mental anguish from it. He likes the racing, but not the anguish. I heard a rumour that Lewis, his contract doesn't state driver per se, that it's that they put out a press release saying they will continue this sporting relationship, which to me says Lewis, as much as I hate talking about it, constantly banging on about it, he's always going on about the diversity and all that sort of thing. I personally want Formula One to be about the sport, not about diversity and constantly anti-racism and all that sort of thing. It's a little bit head in sand mentality, but I want the sport to be about the sport. So with the fact it says sporting relationship, I imagine it's to do more with what sort of charities he can work for, that sort of thing. I mean, it's all good, but I would much rather he be doing it in his own time, away from the track and all that sort of thing, but that's just my own personal preference. It's how long he wants to do it all together, rather than the money. I mean, because let's face it, he'd probably go into any sort of other industry and earn millions of dollars or pounds, whatever he wanted to, when he wanted to, just with his mindset. And Bottas, he just doesn't have the killer instinct. He's quick. He showed it at Williams in 2014, 15, 16. But is he quick enough to beat Lewis? No, not repeatedly. And that's the key. Nico, apparently he beat Lewis Hamilton because he learned from Schumacher's mental tricks, which I could see that. But I still maintain I don't think Nico could have beaten, lovely penalty, could have beaten Hamilton week in, week out for another year or two. And that's why they like Bottas there. So what other teams we got? We have Mercedes, Red Bull, Haas, I don't care about. I mean, we've got Schumacher and Mazepin, the Russian twat, as far as the media portray him, and quite frankly, some of the stuff he does is disgusting. So great. Schumacher, I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. Other than that, I really don't care about Haas. Yeah, he took every out to beat Lewis once. That says enough for me. So yeah, Schumacher, I'm interested to see what he can do, see if he's anything like his old man. There's the pen. Yeah. Latifi, I don't care. Paid driver. I really don't care about Latifi. It sounds blasé, but if you can't out qualify your teammate once in the season, do you belong in that car? Nico was really good. I will absolutely give him credit for that. Sonoda, I'm not the biggest GP2 watcher, so I don't know as much about him as I should do. But I often wonder there should have been a better driver for that seat. Yeah, I think it would have been better for Mick if he'd had his dad around. But at least he's still got Ralph. So the Frenchman's going backwards. I wonder what happened there. Ocon. Got a little bit buried by Ricardo last year. If you watch the WTF 1 podcast, even Natalie Pinkham said something similar. Alpine. I hope they carry the momentum from Renault last year. I really do. Yeah, Sonoda does bring cash. I mean, I can see that. Last lap. Good old Ralph. Around the outside of Parabolica. Try doing that twice. That was a fun race. Oh yeah, from what I do know about GP2 and your bro race icon, you did say about that. That was pretty good callback. Yes, I do like GP2. I just need to find out when it's actually scheduled and actually make sure I watch it and learn the rules properly, because the sprint race still confuses the shit out of me. But I'll get there. I did watch some of his racing, and he did look like an absolute talent. But again, cash speaks, Latifi gets the drive. It's that simple. Yeah, I've raced Charlie 8 before. He's very fair. I mean, he's in the wrong car, but he's very, very fair. I had to sim Rickland. See if you can think about any more old F1 to talk about. Well, because you said I've got to try and get up to B rank, I've got to do at least one more race. That's the way it goes. I find it very, very hard. Well, GT. What? F2. Did you call it GP2 like I kept doing? Yeah, it's F2 now, not GP2. Don't worry, I do that all the time. Anyhow, I believe last year was a bit of a anomaly. Oh, don't get me started on Senna. Last year was a bit of an anomaly. They did race a lot of them together, but they don't always do it. Sometimes they are a week beforehand at different tracks and all sorts. It's been a pleasure, Bert. Catch you in a minute. I'd imagine so. I know the Spa race where Hubert died was on the same day, and whatnot. So I know some of them are on the same day. But I know every time I've gone to tune in, it's not been on the same damn day. Well, it's just my damn luck, I don't know. I find it easier to follow bloody Formula E. And that's all over the damn place. Which is also interesting, a really fun series. Okay, I'm going to save that one. What am I up to? Still on E. Right, might be lucky to get in a couple of qualifying sessions. I'll try and at least get close to a 13-year-old doing a 46 bloody 2. Although, in my defence, controller. Let's see if I can find an app which will detail oh yes. Trying to find an app which should detail the SR and DR, which I've got the links on my browser, but I'll try to find it on my phone as well. So 2 flying laps. Right, come on. Let's go chasing after a 13-year-old. And that sounds weird. And there it is, we have weird. Being fair, I think that was a rapid way through that corner. Ooh. Right, curve of Grande. The most non-happening curve in the whole calendar of F1. Oh, actually, no, that's a lie, but I like it really. What? Okay, it wasn't as fast as I thought it was. Oh, to the limit. Sometimes I hate this game. Okay, I know that was my fault, but it doesn't make it any better. Okay, here we go. Absolute full focus. Right, we've got to get under a 47. Going sideways through that corner does not help. Or cut in that corner or go in there. I meant to do that. Prove I didn't. I'll go for a 2-minute 47. Yeah, okay. Right. I will be back momentarily. Woo! Up to D rank. Did I change my tires back to hard? Probably not. Alright, so we're trying the normal strategy. Oh. Qualify 6/10 ahead of Dev. Okay. If I can break the slipstream, this might be an easy race. Oh, I am on hard tyres. It's going to be very much dependent on that damn slipstream. Me too, just got back myself. Okay, there's one death at the first corner. So I'm starting on pole. 6/10 ahead of the nearest guy. So if I can break the slipstream, then it might be an easy race, I'm afraid. It might not be very entertaining. or I'm going to put myself in the wall at some point. It's leaning towards the wall for me. My time for my main account, Shunt 006, is 46.8. For this account, it's a 47.2. I mean, I haven't put as much time into it. I'm definitely have to try and beat that. AlphaTauri, they exist. Let's move on. I mean, I know they won a race last year, but let's face it, that was a fluke. I mean, the only races they've ever won were Monza, okay, as Toro Rosso, were Monza 2008 in the wet with Vettel, which is an exceptional race, and Monza again, because Hamilton ended up with a penalty and a weird safety car situation. So, as far as AlphaTauri are, yeah, they're just one of those midfield teams I don't pay much attention to. I know it's a little bit short-sighted, but at the end of the day, they are just there. A 46.7, yeah, I think I could have got a 46.6, maybe a 5 at a push, if I can put every single sector together at my utmost best. But 46.8 is pretty damn good. I could only one in about 100, that would be better. So 46.7 from you is bloody good. I expect you've got a little bit of time left on that. Haven't actually mentioned Alonso for Alpine. As far as I will talk about him briefly. Yeah, I'd say just to be decent at the pad is handy, just so you can plug it in and go. Not a worry. It's a handy little skill. And Alonso, I hope, I really do, he's not going to pull a Michael Schumacher and come back after he's best. I mean, I was never the biggest fan of him. Yeah, those are exactly what the controls that I do use for the gears and accelerate. And more like a traditional actual racer game. Or Forza. Yeah, so I hope Alonso doesn't come back post his prime, or at least post speed is still there. I mean, I know he's been keeping his hand in with LMP1, won the World Endurance Championship, WEC, IndyCar, so it's not going to be terrible. But it makes me worried for people like Ocon. If he gets mullered by Alonso on track, not for a political reason, just because he's quicker, that could be the end of Ocon's career. Quite easily. But you do get drivers historically that have come back in the 30s, even early 40s, and won the championship. Mansell, 92, was, I want to say 39, 40. There or thereabouts. He was still quick. Okay, yes, he had the Williams, but he was still quick. So I'm hoping Alonso still has that raw speed and ability to build a team around him. Yeah, I think Michael had an extra year gap, and I don't think he was doing much in the way of racing. I think he did a few motorbike stuff. And actually broke his neck at one point. I mean, not severely, we were talking fracture. So he was never coming back in pure, brilliant health. But Alonso in the last week has been knocked off a bloody car, broken his jaw. So, yeah, I think the most damaging thing that Alonso has had is 2 years away from the sport. but you could easily argue it's to recharge his batteries. But you saw what 1 year away did to Ocon, so it's. And now Alonso's got that jaw injury, which is going to affect his mouth, which might be a benefit, really. I don't know. I hope he does well. I didn't like Alonso when he first started, particularly with Renault after his title, with McLaren as well. Didn't like him. He was just far too arrogant. He has mellowed, but he does try and drag a team up with him now rather than criticise the shit out of them, unless it's the engine, in which case he'll go balls to the wall and tell them how crap they are, which Honda deserved it. Let's face it. So he's very much a double-edged sword, Mr. Fernando, which incidentally has the same birthday as me. That was a factoid that I didn't know I needed to know. Anywho. So yeah, Mr. Alonso. I feel like we're missing a team. We've gone through Ferrari, Mercedes, Red Bull, AlphaTauri, Alpine, Haas. Alfa Romeo, Raikkonen and Giovanni. Giovinazzi. Giovanni's the Pokemon trainer. So yeah, we have. I've forgotten the name already. Alfa Romeo, who may be their final year in F1, by the way. The rumours I've heard. Yeah, where was I going with that? Yes. If Giovinazzi doesn't beat Raikkonen, at least in half of the qualifying sessions this year, half of the races, he might as well go ahead and retire. I mean, Raikkonen was exceptional when he was in McLaren in 2005-ish, 2006. Even some of these races for Ferrari were exceptional. Even in 2018. I mean, his age, beaten on track for most of the races, Vettel. And taking the fight to Bottas and Hamilton. But he's past his prime, unfortunately. I don't believe Raikkonen's the same driver he was in 2005. So that said, if Giovinazzi can't beat an aging Raikkonen, he might as well just go ahead and retire, and Ferrari need to put a better driver in that seat for the future. Oh, he absolutely still has his moments on the radio. I mean, I love Raikkonen. I'm a Kimi fan. I want him to race until he's 50. I mean, he could probably go and do IndyCar if he wanted to. Just minus the ovals. I mean, when Kimi was second in Monza after the restart this year, I was absolutely bouncing up and down on the chair going, go on Raikkonen, and then he ended up in 11th or something. He'll do something. He might just go and drink a bottle of vodka somewhere. He's well known for that. Signs. That's a tricky one. So we mentioned Ferrari, just not the drivers. Leclerc, a real absolute talent, but a hothead. I mean, where he crashed into Vettel and dive bombed him a couple of times, I actually agree with Vettel, which surprises the shit out of me. I never agree with Vettel. But I do want to see Leclerc do well. I do want to see a strong Ferrari. Carlos going to Ferrari for a 1 or 2 year deal stinks of the fact that that's a seat being saved for Mick Schumacher. It absolutely reeks of it. Which means Giovinazzi being a Ferrari driver is shit out of luck. Yeah, I do agree with that. Max has learned to calm down for the most part. Not always, but for the most part. And Leclerc is still a little bit temperamental. I mean, you still see it from, Scott Speed, don't go. I remember him in the Toro Rosso. I think that was 2005, 2006. He was terrible. Yeah. But seriously, I'm going to go back a couple of pages. Raikkonen, I want him to do well. I want him to get some decent points. I want to see him on the podium. I'm hoping that the Alfa Romeo is a decent car this or next year, and Raikkonen decides to do one more year, but only if he beats Giovinazzi. I think that's all I can say on that. Going back to your point, Scott Speed. There's a reason why Super GT has an account named Scott Speed. This is just out of sheer irony, because he was average at best. And Giovinazzi, I will give Giovinazzi's absolute praise. He matched Raikkonen for a fair few races last year, but the points he scores were often when people, like in Austria, didn't finish. It's that simple. And if he can't beat an age of Raikkonen, he doesn't really deserve to be there. This year he is in or out, really. Yeah, Scott Speed. Really don't. Yeah. That's that same sort of time when you got like Alvasuari and Buemi and all those drivers going in and out of Red Bull and Toro Rosso. Just there or not, or didn't really matter. Just those average drivers. Bruno Senna. The only thing I remember him doing was crashing into Vettel in Brazil in 2012 and nearly costing him the title. What? Yeah, Crashmaster. He was a bit like Maldonado and Grosjean, always in the action. But not in a good way. Yeah. Bruno Senna, just an absolute travesty of a use of the surname Senna in motorsport. The one thing that Bruno Senna had was Senna's money and backing. Money speaks louder than anything in Formula 1. That's a polite way of putting it. And he had other drivers like Jolyon Palmer, who were, say, average. I mean, by the standard humans, are bloody good, but by Formula 1 drivers. Yeah, he does have an ego. He does a podcast for, I want to say, F1 YouTube. Often breaking down the races. And once you're a commentator on a lot of these things, that is where you go to have your driving career die. Oh, it's on the BBC one. Oh, I didn't realise. I've only ever seen him on YouTube. You were saying Max wasn't as good as him. Now that is an ego. Yeah, he does rip Bottas. Unfortunately, it's very easy to be an armchair warrior, keyboard warrior, that sort of thing. Oh, that might be a penalty. We'll go away with that. No! Balls. So I managed to get to lap 8 virtually. Oh dear, oh dear. That's because I wasn't focusing. So I managed to get to lap 8 without pitting. So let's hit a nice reset back onto the track. It's because I was looking at the text. I'm going to blame it on that. Alright. I think I've got this race in the bag. Should be fine. Because they were 16 seconds behind me by the time I spun myself off. Album. Album. Do you know what? I like the driver. There's the criticism that he's too nice to be an F1 driver. he might actually be the epitome of that's exactly accurate. I like him. Was he quick? At times. In a Toro Rosso? Absolutely. In the Red Bull? Absolutely nowhere. But it goes back to the whole potentially poison chalice second seat. Yeah, I could really imagine that. I mean, some of his overtaking moves were brilliant, but it was just too few and far between. He was just way too inconsistent, and you can't be 6 tenths behind Max. Again, it goes back to the politics. Did he have the same setup? Allegedly. Did he have the same support? Probably not. But you have to be emotionally a strong driver to be in Formula One. I mean, if you'd have put him back in the days of Mansell, Prost, Senna, those sort of people, strong personalities, he would be dead. They would have buried him. Absolutely buried him. I do believe in F2 he probably was a lot better. It shows raw talent. But in F1, at Red Bull, he was not good. Stroll. Do you know what? He's an interesting driver. He's a bit like what Lewis Hamilton, not the same grade. He does to a much worse extent what Hamilton used to do a couple of years ago. You never knew if he was going to turn up on the weekend or not. Some weeks he's there and really, really quick. Other weeks, down the back, way behind Perez. Does he deserve to be in F1? He gets a lot of criticism about it, one way or another. You know, Daddy's bought him a seat. But let's be fair, if you had a son and, say, 400 million quid, he wanted to go racing, or heck, even your brother, you'd pay for him, wouldn't you? Here's 100 million quid, go nuts. If Perez hadn't gone to Aston. It's just going to be interesting to see if Seb manages to be beaten or bury Lance. Because I don't know how to put that anymore. Because is Seb the same racer that he was? Maybe. Or is Lance that good? Without direct comparisons and equal machinery, it's bloody hard to figure it out. My money would be on Lance, just on not being quite as good as Seb across the year, just because of his ups and downs. Simple as that. He was bloody unlucky with the tyre blowout in Tuscany. Other than that, he had one race out with COVID, and then they said he hasn't quite recovered. Hasn't quite recovered from it yet. So as the more we know about it now, that whole pandemic, the more it makes kind of a bit of sense. But Perez was back in, a week, and he was back on the pace. But yeah, it's neither here nor there. Perez deserved a seat. Absolutely deserved it. In previous years, I've not thought much about him. I mean, he's quietly got on and done it, or crashed into Ocon or his other teammates. But you can put that down to the teammate as well. But this last year or two, potentially ignoring the political side of it, he had just delivered. He is quick. He is very quick. Perez. So, sorry, I'm hungry. I'm eating as well. So that was a really crap race, but I kind of won it at a bit of a canter because I was just driving around the hard tyres until they ran out, and I kind of fell off the track. But as soon as drivers hit that early 30s to mid 30s, something curious happens. They stop getting the big drives, unless your name is Raikkonen and Ferrari go, oh, we need you back. I mean, Ricciardo, if it doesn't work out for him at McLaren at the end of the 3 years, I'm worried about him not being anywhere near a championship winning car. And the same would be said for Perez. I mean, they're in the same age group. Yeah, I'd say the passion doesn't dry up, and they possibly care a little bit less. But it's more the sheer fact all the teams right now are tending to go for younger, more raw drivers. I mean, Ferrari's now got the youngest ever driver pairing after having their oldest one, or something to that effect. They're not oldest. Well, Raikkonen was the oldest driver. It doesn't really matter. Strongest driver lineup this year. I'd be tempted to say Mercedes, just on the sheer of having Lewis Hamilton there. Bottas is solid. To quote WWE, he's a B+ driver, or paraphrase WWE. Red Bull have... Yes, oh, do you know what? Max and Perez, I think that is the strongest pairing. It's kind of the weirdest pairing as well. The one of the most aggressive drivers paired with one of the most consistent drivers who will get everything out of a car, no matter what it is. So Hamilton is an absolute premium. I'm with you on that. I'm really excited for the McLaren pairing. I want to see what they can do. I want to see what that car can do. I was hoping that the car is up to spec, because they've not been able to develop as much putting in the Merc engine. But we'll just see if the Merc engine compensates for that or not. Could well be some stick. We'll have to wait and see. It's going to be an interesting year. I mean, one of the things that I was listening to, one of the podcasts, was saying this year might be a crap year, might be a dull year, that sort of thing. They said the same thing about 2020, and at the end of it, we were just happy to be racing, and that's all that mattered. And as soon as they chucked in random tracks and that sort of thing, it was a great year, even though the championship was wrapped up way before the end. But we'll have to see. And yeah, Lando might feel threatened. He's been at McLaren. He's been he's been the longest running driver, and there now, you get what I'm saying. He's a driver that's been there longer than Danny. But he might feel pushed out. And even Lando had said that he'd been a yes man up until this point in his career, and just said, yeah, that's great, just give me the car and drive. Ricciardo is a first choice, first rate driver, and he earns the money to prove it. And he has the experience to be able to develop cars. So, yeah, I could see Lando being a little bit threatened, but he is only 21. He could be in the sport for 20 years if he potentially wanted to. Yeah. Yeah. I do worry about Ricciardo. I said it a minute ago, but if he doesn't get a title challenging car in, not next year, but the year after, I worry for his potential. He might go down one of those drivers that is one of the greatest drivers never to win a championship. I'll have to pull up the driver list. Hulkenberg. I really like him. To me, he's a bit like Perez. Will ultimately get the best out of a car, but not to the same level. A couple of seconds back on the road. And as soon as he's anywhere near a podium, he'll be in the wall. Either be for it luck or bottling it. I like Hulk. I mean, what he did at Silverstone, and it was the 2 Silverstones this year, wasn't it? And Nürburgring? Was it Nürburgring? Were he deputised for Stroll? But yeah, I like Hulk. I do. I think he in a total challenging car would have been Bottas equal. Well, all right, maybe slightly behind Bottas, but he would have been a fantastic second driver. So paired with, I would have liked to have seen him paired with Max Verstappen, and I think Red Bull would have liked that because he would have been cheaper than Perez as well, potentially. So, yeah, exactly. So if Bottas were to go, Hulk in, but now he's had a year off. Yeah, he's now in that position that Ocon was in, which is awkward. Bottas is 11 million. Didn't know that. That's expensive. But I suppose he brings home a couple of wins a year. Sits behind Lewis all dutifully. Can't argue it, can you? And Magnussen. Lots of squandered potential. 55 million for, and that's not including the money that Lewis earns from all of his sponsorship deals, I suspect. Holy Jesus, this lobby's going to be fun. Yeah, Magnussen. Yeah, squandered potential. I would have liked to have seen him also in a top-ish car. I mean, this comes back to the problem with Formula 1 that has had for the last 15, 20 years. Not enough potential race-winning cars. If you put Magnussen himself he's dicey. Now that's a problem. I mean, there was that crash with Albon that he had at Silverstone or the 70th anniversary. It didn't need to happen. The amount of times he crashed into Grosjean didn't need to happen. So, I'm sure there is a driver we haven't named. Give me a minute. I'm going to open up my stats folder. Okay, so Hamilton, Bottas, Vettel, Leclerc, Albon, Verstappen, Norris, Sainz, Ricciardo, Ocon, Gasly, Kvyat, Perez, Stroll, Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, Grosjean, can't be bothered with, Magnussen, Latifi, Russell, Hulkenberg. And then there was a couple of drivers that did it at odd races last year, like Aitken and Fittipaldi. I don't know enough about them to really judge, to be brutally honest. And they were in back marker cars last year, and weirdly enough, Aitken in Russell's car was the one that crashed at the end of the Sakhir Grand Prix, losing his front wing, possibly causing Russell to have a puncture to lose his first win from Russell's car. So, you know, irony. Can't think of any other big names. Kubica, don't care. I mean, good on him for coming back to Formula 1. That's a nice, feel-happy story. It really is. He deserved to be in Formula 1 in the 2010s, absolutely, but that's not the way it panned out. And I don't think he ever recovered that sense of speed that he had. I mean, that's not a fault of his. It's not something he can help. Yeah, I like that little face there. Gasly. Alright, yeah, we haven't really touched on Gasly too hard, and that sounds dodgy, so I won't say it again. Gasly. Luckiest bastard ever to get an F1 race. Win. Gasly really came alive in the first half of 2020. Second half, he was beaten by Kvyat a fair chunk, and I was surprised by that. I really was. I mean, I rate him much higher now than I did at the end of his main Red Bull stint. And that's not because of his win. I mean, quite frankly, I don't really care for the win. I don't even rate it as one of his better drives. Because he was just happened to be in the right place at the right time. But, you know, he did beat Carlos. He held off Carlos, so that was an exceptional bit by that bit. And he passed Stroll, I think. So, you know, absolute kudos to Gasly for that, but I don't think it was one of his better races. Great last 10 laps, but rest of the race. I mean, when he finished, I think, 4th in his first Toro Rosso race. The first Honda Toro Rosso race. That was a better race at Bahrain. Bye, Coupon. I think Gasly deserves to be there, but he needs to get out of the Red Bull program. I mean, I don't often pay much attention to French drivers because they come and go. A dime a dozen, as it were. I'm not sure where I'd put him. Maybe in Alpine. I could see him replace Ocon if he doesn't perform. I think that would be fair. I mean, there's loads of opportunities for all these drivers to go places now. There's Formula E, there's IndyCar, there's WEC, Le Mans Endurance, all that crap. I'm not sure Ocon and Vettel last year were two of the most sort of disappointing drivers, whereas Grosjean was just shit. The one thing I will talk about with Grosjean is that Bahrain, that Sakir, was it Bahrain or Sakir? I think it was Bahrain. I actually haven't watched Ocon on any sim racing, so you'll have to fill me in on that while I go on about Grosjean. Grosjean. He caused his own damn accident. He cut across to... I can't remember who... It was Kvyat, because I was remarking he went into the torpedo. He caused his own damn crash, and he got a lot of sympathy for it. You see the way Grosjean was driving at Silverstone when he was nearly taking Danny Rick off, because he was just darting all over the place, which they had a rule about 3 or 4 years before. They called the Max Verstappen rule, moving in the braking zones. Grosjean last year was... I don't even want to talk about him. I really don't. When he was head of the Grand Prix Drivers Association, and it's like, who do we complain to? The head of the GPDA, so me. That doesn't make any sense. Took him 12 inputs on... Oh yeah, I get what you're saying. I have no doubt all these drivers have a lot of skill. I'm not too bad on the pad, because it's the only thing I tend to use. Until I do something stupid like that. Look spongy. What's my BB? Okay, you got me on that one. Brake balance. 4 to the front? Yeah. Okay, now this is starting to slow me down. This is getting annoying. I don't mind when drivers have bad races, but when they slow you down, I don't like it. It's irritating. I always go really radically far with the front brake bias. It's just how I drive. I tried to do it in the front wheel drive car the other week and I was just ended up spinning all the time. Like, oh, it's because I'm an idiot. But do remember, you're the one that's got the faster lap time than me, so it kind of makes sense. In terms of, you know, your brake balance is probably better. But it might be I'm compensating for the pad by having such a far forward brake bias. Yeah, I checked out the... Oh, hello. I checked out the stats. At A rank, around about 35k, you're in the top 2 or 3%. Just the top 1% after that they are crazy quick. Do you know what? I'm not even surprised. I mean, we are in the area of... We're quick compared to the average pleb. But the actual quick people make us look like idiots. Like your brother. 46.2 on this course. Yeah, I agree. There's quick and then there's... Yeah. That was a bit sideways through that. That was fun. Nom. Wow, I'm not... Just on 9 seconds behind the leader after 4 laps. Okay, I know rolling starts are a bit of a pain in the arse on this, but I got myself a penalty. What did I get the penalty for? I can't remember. But 9 seconds behind the leader after 4 laps, it feels insulting. Hey dude, how's it going? Nice to see you back. Welcome back to the chat. We've been talking F1 for the last hour or two while I've been driving around like a madman around Monza. Monza madness and all that. Good to see you. Yeah, I logged on to Fuji because that's one of my speciality circuits the other day in the McLaren C or that one that's got the top spot. I was like, yeah, I'll get a sub 45 real easy. Nah. I think I got a 45.2 in the end. And then after I gave up. I couldn't be able to put the time onto it. I've been focusing on Monza this week. Okay, so the leader is on the medium tyres. Okay, Killer Vito was on the hard. That's disconcerting for me. Yeah, I'm in the Corvette again. I'm on my second account this time. I've changed it off Shunt 006 to full on midnight ISO, and this is my account. Oh, I've braked way too early for that. This is the account that I'm going to be using for when I bring the steering wheel out. Oh, thank you very much. No, followed him. Oh, shut up. Follow each other. Do that. Let's build a community. It is a new wheel. It's just a G29, which is the Logitech sort of standard. It is a good wheel. I just need to have the patience to sit and learn it. Sit and learn how to drive with it. It's more my capability going over to wheels. I mean, I've used controllers for such a long time. It's a bit like an old comfort. Easy to pick up and play. Nom. So I've got Baron Samedi ahead of me. So I hope they tell the crew from Live and Let Die that he's escaped. He's on the medium, so he'll be going a bit slower now. I'm quite happy with that. To affiliate on Twitch, you need... Oh, you need to have an average of 3 viewers per stream. Do you know what? I can't remember. It's certain weird criteria. Oh, and 50, yeah, 50 subs, which I think I have 20. So I'm personally bigger on YouTube. I think I have 54, 55 subscribers on there. 40 followers is not bad, dude. You know, the more streams you do, the more content you put out there, the more good people that you find, and that's the biggest key in this. The more subscriptions, subs, and all that you will get. And hopefully it'll pay for that Fanatec will, unless they want to give us one for free to test. Okay, so we are apparently catching Muck Spongy. I have a feeling he's on the hard tyre, so I'll be having a go at him in the next lap or so. Yeah, I've run 2 screens, as you probably see me flicking from my head from side to side, and I need a third. It's one of those things that it gets expensive really quick. If they gifted a Corvette in real life, I would drive it everywhere. And on every GT course possible, including the rally ones. So I'm advertising for Corvette. For Chevrolet, I know what I mean. $3K. Oh, my head went for the Corvette there. Nah, you mean for the rig. And the Fanatec, yeah, that makes sense. I had a couple of extra zeros for the Corvette. Well, with the rise of esports and all that sort of thing in the last 10 years, I mean, these sort of sponsorship deals are, for the bigger YouTubers particularly, and Twitchers, Super GT, who I think he bought himself an M4 a while back, and Jimmy Broadbent bought himself a Skyline, or the other way around. It might be the other way around. I mean, yeah, for the bigger streamers, all these sort of things are very, very likely. Jimmy is good. He's funny. I can't stand to watch him for too long though. There's something about his personality. He's fine. I prefer watching Super GT. I do know of Basic Ollie, and I've heard... Oh, here he is, I do watch. That's Rory Alexander. I do like him as well. Running wide. Alright, McSpongy, you get away this time. I was more thinking about my dinner that I'm trying to eat. How would he be literally a B driver? Is it one of those things where he just started putting in effort, started streaming more often, and then got himself a Fanatec and then jumped up the grid? I genuinely don't know. Yeah, I suppose that is the case. Well, that is getting leery on the exit. Okay, my pace during this race has been a little bit average. I've not done the medium tyres justice at all. And then I get myself a penalty, so that's always fun. He was 13 yesterday, and he's oh, hang on. It was his birthday today, wasn't it? You said Saturday. Happy birthday, little brother. What was his YouTube channel again? It was the Curb something. I did subscribe to it. I've just forgotten the name of it. I even said it on the stream earlier. That was a good thing to do on a stream. Curb Killer, thank you. Admittedly, I think when I searched it up, I did spell it correctly. Which for me, as someone who's mildly dyslexic, is kind of ironic. I managed to spell it right. The guy who finished down in 12th, Turbulent 22, I've seen him before. And 11th, Oi Oi, Who Are You? Some of these names I recognise. D10 Piper. D Coopin. Okay, so there must have been a bit of a faster clock at the first corner. Where did I come? 4th. Okay, so I started at 7th. It's when you start recognising names, it suddenly becomes a problem. It's like, were they good drivers? Were they shit drivers? Did they ram me off? Did I ram them off? Right. There's always that question, isn't there? Okay, so Baron Semedy got rammed off by FCW. So it was same. Okay, we're up to C rank. I started writing down all of the rammers that I had, and then I ran out of paper. Problem is, my name was on the thing quite a few times as well. But you saw what I did to the Italian earlier on. When he punted me off at the Parabolica, I then put him in the pit wall afterwards. So he fracking deserved that. So I was quite happy with myself. So putting him in Super GT's Shadow Realm. I've got to think out all one for myself. Shunts, Sadistic. I think it's like alliteration. Ooh, the Abyss, that's a good one. I like it. you guys think of one? Shunt statistics, something or other? English is not my strong suit, as you may have guessed from my ability to talk poorly. Right, that's all of that. I'm going to look at one of the replays from earlier on. And I can't remember which one. Because that was the one I think I won. Second. So this is the one from earlier. I think this is the one that I wanted to look at. I'm good at not shutting up, is what you mean. The one thing I know I'm good at is I know my stuff with Formula 1, more or less. So, if you get me started, it's hard to shut me up. Which at some point, I say at some point, I've got to start looking at it now, because Formula 1 season is going to be coming up. I was going to do a podcast relating to Formula 1, more or less going over all the stuff I've gone over all tonight with regards to all the drivers and all that sort of thing. In a bit more depth. I say a bit more, I went into quite depth this afternoon. But a bit more structure, shall we say. F1 theories. I've got a good one for you. This one I was thinking about. Thank you very much. I'm glad you were impressed and enjoyed the knowledge. Yeah, I will be doing the podcast then. Alright, I will get to it. Shall we say that? What was the theory? Theories. I have one theory. It's a weird one. Going back to the 90s, that Damon Hill, pre-Lewis Hamilton, is one of the greatest F1 drivers we've had in the modern era. And I have a reason behind it. And I would be happy to do a duo podcast. So at least we can have a little bit of bounces off each other and different points of view and go from there. Anywho, back to the Damon Hill thing. In 94, he lost the championship by 1 point, thanks to Mr. Michael Schumacher having a very questionable attitude line into one of the corners at Adelaide. That very, very famous one where they go boing and Schumacher goes off into the air, breaks Hill suspension, and Schumacher wins the championship. Anywho, if you go back about 6 races earlier on, Hill at Hockenheim, I believe of it, lost his front wing. I think it was on Ukyo Katayama. If he had managed to finish that race 5th or 6th, historically speaking, looking at the points how they've unfolded later on, he would have won the championship by, I think on count back for wins, don't quote me, or at very least points if he got 5th, because that's how it went. It went 1st to 6th and back those times, making him a double world champion by the time 1996 rolls around. Right? Okay, this is more a what-if experiment, so bear with me. So, the rest unfolds as it did, come in 1996. He leaves Williams in 97, goes to another team, which we all know ended up being Arrows, which he nearly won the Hungarian Grand Prix. Again, thought experiment, so bear with me. But it doesn't unfold that way. He leaves Williams, but signs, follows Adrian Newey to McLaren. In his autobiography, which is around here somewhere, I'm actually virtually sitting on it. I actually haven't read it yet. I just looked on too much on YouTube. Where's I going with that? Yes, McLaren. He follows in this what-if experiment. Hopefully that's better. I can see the dials going, so hopefully it's just that. Hopefully it's working. Sweet. So, alright, the theory goes, Hill follows Adrian Newey to McLaren. As we all know, in 98, when the rule change hit, Hakkinen won 2 in a row. 2 championships in a row. Now, I am not saying Hill would have won both of them. I am not saying any of that. But Hill had potential of being a 4-time world champion if he'd have won 94 by just finishing one race differently, and then signed for McLaren instead of Arrows. And it was on the table. I can't remember the reason why he went to Arrows. There was it was because of Tom Walkinshaw, I think. He promised him a much better car than he was actually delivered. And of course, the year after that, he ended up in Jordan because he went, fuck this, I'm out. But imagine if he'd just gone to McLaren in 97, may have had a chance of the odd win that year. I mean, the car wasn't brilliant. It wasn't a Ferrari or a Williams. But 98 rolled around and they dominated the first race. Absolutely. I think they lapped everyone up to 3rd or 4th. If he'd have been in that car, either with Coulthard as his second driver, because at this point Hakkinen was a bloody mosquito. Hakkinen was a little bit of an unknown. You know, it just depends on how contracts would have unfolded. There is potential for Damon Hill of being a 4-time world champion, equal to Prost and Vettel. I mean, that is a nuts little thing. If two things have happened differently, you know, that finish in Hockenheim, there you go. Or he'd have finished in Adelaide. That's all he would have needed to have done. And then gone to McLaren instead of Arrows. It's an interesting thought. But then if you look at Alonso and his career, if he hadn't got stuck behind Petrov in Abu Dhabi in, I think, 2012, he would have been a triple world champion, easily. If Vettel hadn't... No, hang on, that might have been 2011. One of them. If Vettel hadn't finished that race in Brazil after being knocked out by Senna, that would have been another championship to Alonso. You could have had Alonso a 4-time world champion, Vettel as a double world champion, or whatever. It's just... It's weird how Formula 1 works out sometimes, but you can only go with the results that you get and how things panned out politically. Right, and if you're starting your stream, I'm probably going to end mine. I am just going... Wait. I want to see that car do that jump again. Or have I passed it already? I think I passed it. We're going to see what I did too. Pin eye. The pin eye. This guy had punted me off on lap 1 or 2. And, oh no, he wants you in the pits. So, I got a bit annoyed with this. And you see he's ramming me left and right. Nah, screw you, good dude. Take that. He deserved it. That was a sadistic shunt moment. Made me giggle anyway. Alright, well, I am going to draw my stream to a close, because frankly that's all I wanted to do, and I got to yak about F1 theory for a while. So yeah, there's a theory for you. And on the next episode we will talk about various Renault conspiracies. Maybe. We'll see what we can find. Alright, well thanks you two gents particularly, 2Bs, for joining in, and with Birch Racer going live, I will probably join in on that. It has been wonderful, gents and ladies, if there are any ladies out there, call me. Have a nice morning, evening, whatever it is, wherever you are. Take care, see you next time.